And we're live.
Hey, hey,
It's Fat Albert. No, not really.
hey.
Have you seen like the Family Guy one? It was like morbidly obese.
See the South Park is like the ghetto Fat Albert.
No, I don't. I didn't see that one.
It's funny.
Uh, all right, everybody. 0 viewers. I love it. Oh shit! Welcome to Daddy's Home Cake Every Night. Forgot about
Daddy's
that
home, cake every night.
because I'm putting these on this channel now because I don't feel like doing extra work. So let me just get up our beautiful picture here. We can get started. Let's get started. All right. Here it is, everyone. Nope, not there. It's not showing. Yay! The Heisei series of Godzilla. Look at my beautiful thumbnail.
Did you spell Heisei wrong?
Maybe. No, I didn't.
Heisei.
Fuck, whatever.
I
Is it?
don't know.
I
That's a good
I
question.
literally I have no idea. I don't think anyone's gonna care really.
It is spelled Heisei.
Fuck.
Forget about it.
Well, I'm gonna have to do some. Oh god. God damn, really? Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that. Hey, technically the Heisei era ended in 2019.
According
Pretty
to
cool.
who? Really?
Wikipedia.
Heisei era ended in 2019.
Yeah, in
Okay.
1989 to 2019. All right, whatever. Who gives
Okay.
a shit? I can't spell Heisei right. God damn it. See, Nick said it right away. Fuck. God damn. All right, let's just ignore all this, please. We're gonna be doing a list of some pros and cons of the Heisei era of Godzilla. It is, it's not my favorite personally series. That is the Showa series, but it's not my least favorite, which is the Millennium series. I don't know how you feel about it in terms of like ranking, but not that matters. But
Um, the show series has more guilty pleasures, I suppose. But I kind of dig the Millennium series. Not gonna lie, Millennium series might be my favorite.
god damn, all of you. Nick has the same opinion, and I'll have Nick on for the Millennium episode, which I'm not gonna misspell Millennium. Okay.
Millennium.
Jesus Christ. All right. So I actually didn't have time to make the list, so I'm gonna be making it on the fly right now. So I figured what me and Sean did is we did pros first, and then so we did each of us did a pro back and forth, and then after that each of us did a con back and forth.
Sean.
I don't see fuck. Everything's like so
Oh,
slow right now.
message
Um,
retracted.
God damn it. This is all going wrong today. Okay, so I guess you can start off the pros.
Okay, well, um, if I'm gonna be really honest, in terms of production design and I suppose budget too, Heisei series outshines the Showa series by a lot.
Yes.
So for my pros, I would say good monster designs. I really like the updated King Ghidorah as well as the Mecha King Ghidorah, which is awesome. Godzilla looks cool. Everything looks fine, to be honest. All the monster designs, even besides maybe Little Godzilla when they show him in Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. I think all the monster designs are pretty well done and really creative and really thought out. So yeah, my next pro would be
Boy, I'm gonna do a pro now.
okay. We'll take turns.
And I'm so pissed off that I misspelled Heisei. God damn it! Whatever. Okay. Let me just take that off the screen, so nobody has to see that forever. And then I'm gonna have to change the thumbnail
The
because that is the
thumbnail.
thumbnail. So I'm gonna have to. I can do that later. I will say though, the first thing that I want to say, this is not an actual like pro that I'm adding to my list, but it does have to be said. These films do have the best posters, as you're
Hmm.
seeing here. These are
Yeah.
fantastic. Um, they all look by the same artist, but I'm not sure. So, but yeah, that's just a little thing there. So my first
I
actual
think
pro boy.
the Godzilla versus Mothra poster looks like the odd one out here. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, a little bit. Well, that's just because I have Mothra as the main thing. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Anyway, so my first pro is Godzilla's design. In every film, I think it's pretty damn good. The Showa
Hmm.
series, there's a few of them that I think are god awful. Not spoiling ahead a little bit, but I guess the Millennium. The one thing I'd have to say about that is I also think the designs are pretty good on that. But I like them here a lot. Probably my favorite. Just some of them in particular. I like 1992, that design, and I think 89 looks very cool. Those are my personal favorites. 84 is all right. It looks good sometimes and it looks
Hmm.
pretty bad sometimes, but it is what it is. So yeah, Godzilla's designs, and I guess I could say the other monsters' designs, but I guess that'll kind of be implied there. So you can go ahead.
Okay. Um, the special effects are really good for the most part. Um, like I said, the budget and production value really outweighs the Showa series by a lot, and there's such great miniature work and good explosions, and they really did a good job making the monsters look big, and making the destruction look as realistic as possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, same thing. The suitmation, I guess they still carried that over, and it still looks pretty well done. Um, so yeah, the special effects gets an A+ in my book.
Sweet. Let me make this bigger. Okay. My next pro is the sci-fi elements of the stories,
Hmm.
and I guess you could call all of these films sci-fi, but I think that specifically these ones with there's like mechs and there's like Mothra fairy dust and there's space and there's all
Hmm.
these kind of weird mystical. Uh, I mean, Biollante is kind of like that too. There's a lot of just weird sci-fi shit, and it's not like in the show series where it's like, hey, this is weird monster that does this thing and we don't explain it. Like they go out of their way to explain everything, like the anatomy of the freaking monsters. I mean, what's his face? Destroyer. Like it was like half the movie was like understanding, like, oh, he's from like a trilobite and all this. What's going on? We're doing a ranking or not ranking, pros and cons list right now. So what was I saying? Sci-fi elements and these, yeah, and they have Godzilla has a second brain in his ass. Like they did all of that stuff, and that's really cool. Uh, and I was just a big fan of it. I thought it was interesting that they put some effort into it. And oh, the time travel, that's another one. How did I forget that? That was pretty cool. And how, like I said, Biollante is kind of like this bioengineered sort of thing. I just thought it was a good way of
Hmm.
explaining the stories. Damn.
Yeah, I would say I'll have to give them this. They have more. They had more. I mean, all the Godzilla movies are, I guess, creative in some way, except for maybe Godzilla's Revenge. But yeah, the Heisei series had the more creative storytelling going on because they had they had a time travel thing. They had Godzilla versus Biollante had its own really creative kind of thought out story. They all have this sort of really creative stuff going on.
Mhm.
which is more than I could say for a lot of the movies in the Showa series. Which, don't get me wrong, they are creative too, but a lot of times as the movies progress, they kind of become more rehashes of earlier movies. Um, Terra Mechagodzilla is guilty of that. But
Um,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I'd say they have a lot more creative storytelling going on in the Heisei series.
Is that one of your pros, or are you just adding on to mine?
Yeah, that was one of my pros, but I guess it adds on to yours.
Okay, cool. That works out. What was my next one? Okay, my next one is the human characters. I thought, yeah, they were a lot less colorful, maybe, and goofy than they were in the show series, which was entertaining in its own right. Um, but what the wait a minute is Rodan holding like a testicle or something? Oh, it's an egg. Is that an egg? Who the hell knows? Anyway,
It's,
uh,
it's the
the
sun.
human. Okay, the humans in these movies I really like personally. I think um, they're like somewhat likable people, and I think a lot of what maybe still makes them a little goofy is the dubbing, but you can't really blame it all on the dubbing. So I do think that when watching like the Japanese versions and all that, it's like it's I think the characters are like the acting is much better. They take their roles a lot more seriously, and I can kind of care about them a little bit. So I would
Mhm.
say that is a pro.
For my next pro, I would say the Heisei series has probably the most consistent story arc because from beginning to end, Godzilla 1985 all the way to Godzilla vs. Destroyer, it's an open and shut book, right? It tells one
True.
long story. Whereas, the Showa Godzilla series has resets and, different this, different that. Uh, Same way with the Millennium series. Pretty much every movie like restarted.
Yes.
The Heisei series is one consistent story arc, and I think it's the longest story arc in terms of consecutive movies. I think 7 movies consecutively, and it has the most consistent story arc.
Well, is Biollante connected to 84? I thought 84 was independent.
Uh, no, because Godzilla comes out of the volcano, I
You know what?
believe.
I have not seen either of those in a long time.
I think because Miki Saigusa is not in '84. I think
Oh, you
I
know what?
could
No,
be
no, I
wrong.
do remember that. I do
Uh,
remember him coming out of the volcano. I remember all that. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, he comes out. Yeah,
All right. I mean, and then some would say, "Oh, well, Godzilla Jr. became Godzilla 2000." If that's the case, then it's 8 movies.
yeah.
Whatever. But
I don't believe it,
nah,
but I don't believe it. But at the
yeah,
same
I
time,
don't.
I can see why. I can see why people would think it.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
is that it?
I got one more.
All right, read
Do
it
you have any
off.
more pros?
Yeah, I do.
Um,
Yeah, I do. 1 second.
okay.
Uh, I have two more, so that makes sense. And to answer your question, Jared, the unmade Heisei Godzilla versus King Kong, it would have come out probably in place of Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. So that would have been after Biollante. Um, I like the fights in this series. I think that like in some
Mhm.
ways they're like I don't want to say I feel like maybe in some ways the show series maybe like the fights are a little goofier and like more animated and all that, but I feel like these ones
Right.
they had a sense of scale that I don't think the Showa ones did. Because think about like nearly all of the battles in the Showa movies, they're all like in an open field in like the middle of
In the
fucking nowhere.
daytime.
Yeah, and in these films, it's like they're fighting in cities and things are getting smashed, and like you can actually feel like, oh, he's shooting a beam at that guy. I can believe that. So maybe Godzilla doesn't move as much, but I think the battles are kind of like a little more believable. I guess I'd say.
My next pro is, of course, the music. I think I think every Godzilla movie has had good music, but I'd say Akira Fukube. I don't think he did the music for all of them in the Heisei series, but he is a veteran music composer from the Showa series, and he carried over the work into the Heisei series, and I think most of them. And he does an excellent job as always. The music is great all the way around.
All right.
Changed my mind.
Um, my next and my last pro is I think that the villains, quote unquote, in these movies are fantastic. I think
Hmm.
Biollante and Space Godzilla and Destroyer are fucking awesome. Bactra kind of sucks, but I think and Mechagodzilla 2 is okay, but I think that just those three, they're like it's almost like in the show movies there wasn't any like monsters that you're like, oh, that's a big threat to Godzilla, but he gets his
Hmm.
ass kicked a lot. Like Biollante fucking like almost eats him, and then uh Space Godzilla was like kicking his ass, and Destroyer just like butt fucked him. So I mean, I think I think that they created like a bunch of like quote unquote boss villains that like I don't think really the
Hmm.
show or movies challenged them as much. Maybe Ghidorah, maybe Gigan, but yeah, I think the villains.
Right.
That's yeah, that's the end of my pros.
I'd have to say, I didn't really write this down, but I would say that every Godzilla movie in the Heisei series wasn't really left open for a sequel because the movies themselves are kind of contained. Um,
Uh-huh.
but they kept making them, which is cool, yes. But that's one thing that a lot of movies nowadays have a problem with setting up sequels that may or may not get made.
Yeah.
And it gets so annoying, man. And I
Yeah.
like how each of these movies were contained in some way, shape, or form.
Right. I mean, and there's always like actually I think a good example is 2014 because
Hmm.
Gareth said that he on purpose made it so that if they couldn't make any more, it would be a good standalone, but there was room for sequels. And I think that
Right.
these films did that well. I agree with that. Um, I guess you could start the cons because you started the pros.
Okay. Um. Honestly, I don't really have any cons besides for maybe few minor flaws you'll find if you really want to nitpick the movies. Then I don't really have any cons. I would say that I feel like this series ended too soon. I would have liked to have seen some sort of continuation beyond Godzilla vs. Destroyer, despite being a good finale. And I can see why there's a desire to believe that Godzilla 2000 is a continuation from the Heisei series, but I kind of wish to I really wanted to see what happened afterwards.
Yeah.
Um, However, I would say if you go on like Toho Kingdom and you read into the scrapped Godzilla pitches and scripts and
Oh,
stories and characters that went unused, there is a lot to be desired, and that's why I feel like my only con sort of is that I feel the series is too short because the Showa series has 15 movies. This one stopped at 7.
mhm.
Um, there is a lot to be desired when it comes to when you read all the unused material, and that's
Right.
all I got for my cons.
Sure. Um, I have a couple nitpicks. I think the first problem I have is the titles of the movie: Godzilla versus Godzilla versus Godzilla versus Godzilla versus, like through and through, and it's like, come on. Like at least the Showa series had a couple like Raids Again and Godzilla's Revenge and Destroyer Monsters, and there was like
Hmm.
some different stuff there. But now these ones are just like pretty straight to the point. I don't know. It's a nitpick, but it's like, come on.
That's a
Uh,
nitpick for the whole series. The Heisei series wasn't the only one that was guilty of that.
well, no, I know, but I'm
I
saying
mean,
like,
which would you prefer? Seeing, Godzilla Resurrection, Godzilla Reloaded, you know, stupid shit like that. It's
you
like,
could you could find better words for that. Like Tokyo SOS is a cool title. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So let's see. My next one. This is I don't know if you want to count this as a con. I'll leave this for later then. My only other con is I do admit that when watching these movies, I do get bored pretty easily, and that might be because
Hmm.
I haven't watched some of these in a long time. But I do remember Return of Godzilla and Biollante being really fucking boring, uh, for whatever reason, and I think a little bit of Mothra. I was bored for some of that, but
Uh huh.
No. In general, I feel like they're not like as memorable, maybe, or like if I want to watch a Godzilla movie because I'm bored, I'm gonna put it on a show movie any day. So I don't
Right.
know. I just find that sometimes I get a little bored. And the one that I kind of left out, it's not a con because I do agree that the music is good, but I feel like there wasn't uh as many like classic themes. Like off the top of my head, I can think of the 84 theme,
Hmm.
the Destroyer one, and Jesus, I had another one. Oh, and the Mechagodzilla 2 one. But besides those three, I can't really think of any other examples of the music being that like great. And I know it's hard to create original music, over and over, but I feel like
Hmm.
I mean, the Showa series, it's like every movie there was like three epic themes that like everybody knows. Um,
I
where
personally think the Heisei series was a perfect blend of some original material and then rescoring the old material. And if they could only give us within just 7 movies, giving us three really epic original ones that will stay in our memory, then you know what? That's fine because the Showa series had 15 movies to give us enough original stuff. With if you cut that down to 7 movies, I think three is good. You know,
Yee.
I mean,
Um,
can besides maybe the Avengers theme, can you think of any other really epic themes that stayed consistent throughout the MCU?
it is true. I didn't think about that.
Right.
That is true. I don't know. I guess maybe the show would set a certain standard or whatever. But that is very true. I do think about that.
Hmm.
I would say to fill out more time in this thing because it's only been 20 something minutes. I was gonna say we could like rank them because I could probably
Okay.
rank
Yeah.
I could probably rank these off the top of my head, but I need like a minute or two to write them down. So let's
Hmm.
do comments. What are your thoughts on the roar they introduced? Oh yeah, the Heisei roar. I do like that a lot. Um,
I do too. I do too.
it's a cool update. In fact, I'm actually kind of disappointed that they used the Showa roar in Godzilla King of the Monsters. I wish they would have used the Heisei one because it just sounds a little cooler. Let's see. 84 connects to. Well, yes, it does connect to 54. And I think Biollante. So yeah, that is true, isn't it? That huh? Yeah, you have like multiple timelines. You have like the if after 54 it was raids again, and then
Mhm.
if not, it was 84, and then you have the Heisei. That is true. Final Wars Godzilla in that film was supposed to be a Dog Jr. I heard about that. G2, Jesus Christ. All right. I think I'm missing one. Wait, they're all right in front of me. Just look at them. Oh, there it is. Okay, I got my list.
Okay.
Okay. You want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. Um, so you want to start from the least favorite to favorite or favorite to
Yeah.
least favorite?
Yes. Least favorite.
Okay. Um, I'm sorry, but it's Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2. I
Wow.
mean, don't get me wrong, Godzilla, Fire Rodan's awesome, I mean, the baby Godzilla didn't look as dumb as it usually would. It's got an interesting story, but it's just I found it the most boring out of them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I still like the movie a lot. I mean, the Heisei series is, like I said, my favorite of the three series. But it's at the bottom of the list for me.
Okay, that's fair. Um. Whoops. I can't type for some reason. All right, my least favorite, uh, just from memory, is Mothra '92.
Hmm.
Um, so I guess me and Nick have that in common. He hates Mothra '92. I think Mothra's design is possibly her worst. I think
Mm.
Godzilla's design is one of my favorites, but I think Bactra is stupid. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't remember liking that movie anytime I watched it. So
Um, my next pick is Godzilla versus Mothra.
there you go.
um, I recently, last time I went to G Fest, that's what they played in the theater at the Pickwick Theater. So sitting in a theater with other Godzilla fans watching the movie, it really elevated the experience. And I like these sort of, kind of adventure, sort of Indiana Jones kind of thing they had going on at the beginning, which is nice.
Hmm.
But yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of Batra, and I wasn't a huge fan of the Mothra stuff because I feel like Mothra's story has been done better in other movies than it was here.
Yep.
But the fight scene is really good, especially when they do the stuff at the carnival and they use the Ferris wheel as a weapon. I was like, I can dig this. But yeah, it's slightly better than Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, in my opinion.
All right. Um, God, I wish you know what. Maybe one day I'll actually do an official like rewatch and re-ranking. But
Hmm.
from where I stand, just thinking about these because I like all these movies. I definitely do.
Right.
I mean, uh, all of these I think are good movies. Unlike the Showa series where I'm like, oh, that one sucks. Like they're all good. But I would say, just based on the fact that I think it's pretty boring, is Destroya. It has good ending. It has good
Hmm.
opening. I think it's pretty boring in the middle. I get so lost. Because doesn't the movie start with like Godzilla in Hong Kong and he's like,
It does, yeah.
oh, he's melting down, like, oh, this is so cool. And then it's kind of like, I'm a scientist guy, and we have these trilobites crawling around everywhere. And then they go and attack people like
Hmm.
aliens. Like, "Ah." And then the ending is pretty cool. But besides that, I was like, it's fine. And the soundtrack is
Yeah.
pretty good for that one. But
All right, my next pick is Godzilla 1985, or The Return of Godzilla: Legend is Reborn, whichever one. Um, I like a good slow war drama, Cold War sort of Doctor Strangelove sort of thing. So, the kind of the war allegory, U.S. versus Japan versus Soviet Union kind of stuff they were going on. I all found that interesting. That's all stuff I like. I'm weird like that. But I thought as a starter, it's a great starter, right? There's a lot of
yep.
it's a slower movie, which makes it less fun for some people. But I think it had a good thing going where, it's kind of like how me specifically, as well as a lot of other Godzilla fans, we liked Godzilla Resurgence. It's kind of like that Godzilla Resurgence. Maybe not as radical as Resurgence was, but it was like bringing it back to basics. Godzilla by himself. How do we stop Godzilla? And it's just that, none of this extra shit, time travel, Indiana Jones, this and that, meltdown. It's just Godzilla. Look, Godzilla is here. We need to stop him. And it's just back to basics, right?
Yeah.
I would say that it's also interesting how this also has an American version with Raymond Burr, so it's fun. It's fun that they did that, after all these years. So, I like Raymond Burr, so that's an added bonus. But I think this is the cutoff where it's like between boring movies and the more funner movies for
Funner is
me.
not a word. All right. I should have been doing this in the beginning. Just like dragging it over to like whatever one we're talking about, either way. But my next one is Godzilla 1984 as well. Oh my
All
god.
right.
I liked it. I mean, I actually think I've only watched it one time. I watched it when I got the
Hmm.
DVD which was 3 years ago. I don't know. I finally found it. And I was like, oh yes, finally. And I put it in because there was like a long time there was like people were like, I can only find a region 3 or I can only I'm like, oh, okay, like what?
The
So there were people like,
VHS tape was all you could get
yeah,
for some
same thing with
people.
Biollante too. The VHS was there for a while, but
Hmm.
yeah, I bought it and I watched it and I was like, that was good. I just thought it was a little boring. That's I mean that's really my only gripe with it is that I think there were some parts that I was kind of bored at. Um,
Hmm.
Now I believe the disc I have has the Japanese one, and I've never watched that one, so maybe I'll have a different perception of it if I watch that. But
I did buy the Kraken releasing of the original Japanese cut. Uh, I watched it when I bought it, and I haven't watched it since. I'm thinking about putting it back on again since I got summer.
oh yeah, damn. All right,
And my next pick is Godzilla versus Biollante. Um, what can I say? I mean, the Biollante story arc is actually really good. I understand that this isn't exactly a fan favorite. I also believe this is like a contest Toho held, who could come up with the next Godzilla story, sort of thing.
yeah,
And I don't know. It's not that it's a lame effort. It's really good. It's just I can see why people don't like it as much. But I thought it was really well done. The special effects is done really well. I also liked how they have like a rock and roll kind of score going on, especially like with chase scenes. This kind of it's like a spy movie. It's like watching a James Bond flick. You got that guy with the shades on the motorcycle.
yep.
Like that's all like that's fun. I really like that kind of stuff. It's out of left field in a Godzilla movie, but I can dig it. So yeah, that's my pick.
All right, my pick is also Biollante for number. What is this? 3, 4, 4. Um, this is another one that I really haven't seen in a long time. Like it probably has been like
Mm.
5 years. But I remember it sounds so dumb. Just like 84. I remember it being a little boring, but I do remember a lot of parts here and there that I thought were either really fun or and there's some moments in this movie that are really creepy. Like
Hmm.
Biollante, like when she's like kind of forming and all that. Like a lot of that stuff was really creepy. One of my
Hmm.
favorite Godzilla looks. And I just thought the story was just good. Like it was a solid story. And
Right.
I'm not gonna say it's like super out there, but it feels like a bit of a unique Godzilla movie, I guess.
It's a fan film. It's a glorified fan film.
Yeah,
That's what it is. A Godzilla fan wrote the story, right?
yeah, literally with the Toho budget. X. All right.
All right. My next pick, Godzilla versus Space Godzilla.
Oh god damn it! Now I gotta scroll all the way down. See what you've done to me. All right, go ahead, talk.
I don't know. I've watched this probably the most times out
Oh
of
yeah,
all the Heisei series.
same.
It's very fun. I really like two guys on a boat or three guys. I don't remember. They go
Three
to the
guys on a
island.
boat.
There's a guy already on the island, right? He's just living there, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes kind of unexplained, or maybe not unexplained. I don't remember, but I don't know. I thought like the circumstances they set up were actually pretty like kind of like haven't been done before, and it's like okay, I can dig this. And Space Godzilla is cool. I do feel he's kind of OP at times, but
Yeah.
safe to say, the ending makes up for it. The Mickey Segusa stuff, despite how dumb it is, I do like how they kind of expanded like her in itself, like in her powers. Like she was able to raise the hospital bed. Like she has telekinetic powers. I'm like, they really did some development there, which is nice. But yeah, I think it's on the same level as Godzilla versus Biollante for me. Just because I've seen it more times, that means I suppose that I guess I like it more than Godzilla versus Biollante.
Okay.
But yeah.
Cool. This is kind of awkward. I also Space Godzilla number 3. Look at that. Well, I know the rest of it is going to be different because you put Mechagodzilla 2 at the bottom. Anyway, so I also have watched this the most out of all of these. Like probably by you know what? Actually, maybe I've watched Ghidorah more, but it is one that I like. There's some moments in this movie that I'm like, oh my god, like Baby Godzilla, like what are they doing?
Right. Yeah.
And then there's some like really strange elements where they're like Mothra ties in, and Space Godzilla's origin is like it's like Godzilla isn't it like a Godzilla Mothra hybrid or some shit like that, like part of Mothra's cells or something. When it
Got the G cells latched onto Mothra, and when Mothra went into space, the G cells went with her. Some weird like that.
so this is so that what okay, so that's like the fan fiction. It's like it's Godzilla and Mothra's like child basically. Ooh, sexy. So yeah, I mean, I think the Space Godzilla's design is really cool. I think the suit functionality is like, like they could move their arms basically. That's about it. But I think that the ending where like Space Godzilla like puts like the crystals through everything, and it's a very unique ending to a film. It's
the updated Mogera. I forgot to mention that.
Right. Oh yeah, look at he's down there somewhere. Yeah, I forgot about Mogera. I forgot about that whole thing. Yeah, that was pretty interesting because it's like there was like people. It's like, oh, we're in the battle too, and it's like, oh, it was pretty interesting stuff. I think it's just the most memorable. I'd say.
Yeah,
that's why I like it. All right, what's your next one?
All right, my next pick is Godzilla versus Destoroyah. I know you don't really like this movie that much. I know a lot of people don't
like
either.
I like it. It's just it's.
I loved it. I mean, it's a finale, and was supposed to be the finale, and it delivered. Godzilla dies. Spoiler alert. It's the best possible way he could die. I mean, going into nuclear mode, and it's like, well, they gotta freeze him so he doesn't nuke the entire world. Destoroyah's.
Oh no, did he die or it froze? One of the two. Or I might be frozen too. I don't know. We'll see how this looks when the stream. Oh, that's great. People, if you're in the comments, tell me if you can hear anything I'm saying, because we could be lagging right now. Actually, no, my speaker's fine. It's probably him. Are you back?
Yeah, Godzilla Jr.
Yes.
It's probably the best son of Godzilla I've ever seen. Like an actual teenaged young adult Godzilla that looks like Godzilla.
Yeah.
Actually does something of purpose, So I think they handled that very well. I would say the story is a little too complex at times, so I can see why like a child might get bored at certain points. But I would say this movie is also probably, besides maybe Godzilla Resurgence, the most brutal Godzilla movie because of, well, Destoroyah. It's a really brutal fight, including is it a warehouse or whatever? Like the squad of army that they fight the little crab monsters. That was really brutal,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Cool. That's number 2. All right, my number 2. Oh, Jesus, why did I do this? do 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 do. We're gonna get there. Don't worry. Don't worry. There we go. I have this poster in my room. Love this one. Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. I do agree with the general consensus of the fans that it is one of the best. I think maybe it's praised a little too much. As Nick Jackson would say, everybody in the dub sounds like they're gay. That's a direct quote from Nick. It's not Pride Month anymore, so I feel okay saying that. Anyway, So yeah, it is true. The dub is pretty fucking terrible. Some of the stuff in this movie is dumb. Like the Dorats, stupid, totally dumb. But Godzilla's suit looks awesome. I'm pretty sure this is the one where he has like the thunder thighs, but it's okay. Ghidorah's design is awesome. The roar is fucking terrible. They just took Rodan's roar and they were like, let's speed it up. And it's like, that's so terrible. They totally fucked that up. But I think Ghidorah's look is good. Mecha Ghidorah is pretty cool. The Godzillasaurus origin story is pretty interesting. It's a really cool take. The time travel and all that's fun. It went into territory that I don't think any other film went into. So I do respect it for that. But I do remember it being one of the more entertaining ones. But yeah, the dubbing is terrible. The Dorats are dumb, and Ghidorah has a bad roar. But that's about it.
Okay. Obviously my number one pick is Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. It's the most fun. I'm hands down. I'm sorry, Nick, but this is the best iteration of Ghidorah. It's closely tied to the GMK Ghidorah, but GMK Ghidorah doesn't quite get there because GMK Ghidorah is not actually a villain. You know.
What about Legendary Ghidorah? That's a debate for another day.
Yeah. This is my best. This is my favorite iteration of Ghidorah. Plus, it delivers Mecha King Ghidorah, which is quite epic. The time travel stuff, you can nitpick and pick apart and point out all the flaws and plot holes all you want. I don't care. It's fun, you know. The World War II stuff, like I said, I like my war movies, so I like. Even though it's portraying the fight on the Japanese side of the story, you know, I really don't mind. I understand it may offend some people, but I don't care. It's good. It was handled really well. Godzillasaurus design, it's good with what they were trying to do. It was good.
Fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I still don't see why. I mean, I think this movie offends Americans. That's what it is, because it's portraying the World War II fight on the Japanese side, which I feel, fuck off. don't let it bother you. You know.
I don't remember
the movie. The Clint Eastwood movie, Letters from Iwo Jima, showed the fight from the Japanese side. No, everyone loved that movie. You know, when it came out. Why does it matter here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really well done. I really liked it. The Dorats were stupid, but I can get over it.
Wasn't this the one with like the shitty Spielberg like?
Yeah, the Spielberg reference they shoehorned in.
You can tell your son about it someday, Agent Spielberg.
Major Spielberg.
What the hell? I mean that is oh my god. Actually, I don't actually remember a lot of the war stuff. How long did they spend time in 1944 or 5 or whatever?
Well, there's like a whole scene in the base on the island.
Oh, right, because of that soldier who then like, oh, Godzillasaurus saved me, and then he got killed by Godzilla.
Right, yeah.
Damn, yeah. You know, this would have been cool if he had different colored beams for every mouth. Ghidorah, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Anyway,
at least the Mecha King Ghidorah had a different color, color beam, didn't he?
Right, it was
like
blue?
A purple one.
Whatever,
purple, something like that.
Cool. All right, unless there's anything else you want to say about that.
No, that's it from me.
All right. Well, we're getting there. It'll happen sometime. My number 1 is Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2. And if you look at this poster, the funny thing is that this actually looks more like the Ready Player One Mechagodzilla face.
I think that's what it was based on, wasn't it?
I have no idea. But Godzilla's design is good. Rodan's part of the story is good. I I think of this one being probably one of the most entertaining ones. I think Rodan's involvement was cool, and I think Mechagodzilla was used in probably the coolest way. I'd say. I think the design is maybe not the best, but I mean, like the idea of
I'll
like the
say
humans.
the poster, the Mechagodzilla poster, does not represent Mechagodzilla. The
No,
poster looks better than Mechagodzilla's actual design.
yeah, it does.
Honestly,
It looks more Showa, really, but this,
yeah,
yeah, I like this one. I think that the soundtrack is very good. And I the ending, I love the ending of the movie. I think it's like it's all solid. And Godzilla Jr. has a cool little plot line there, if maybe not even in the poster. Rodan and his ball right there. So it's all very fun. It's all pretty cool. I think it is a very memorable one, I would say. And then they referenced that in King of the Monsters when Mothra sacrificed herself. So cool. I was so mad they didn't do that with Rodan. They made him a bad guy. Fuck, whatever. Anyway, that's my list and that's his list. And anybody have to say anything about that? Nope. I definitely have to rewatch some of these films now that I'm talking about the series.
yeah.
I would say I definitely overwatched some of them, and I've underwatched others.
Right.
I'll have to give Biollante another watch. Perfect. Anything you want to say? Because I want to end this thing. So if you want to like plug your channel, go ahead.
Subscribe to Cinematic Trash if you haven't already. I haven't really been posting much, but stuff's coming. Don't worry, stuff's coming. All right.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, go subscribe to Cinematic Trash Cinematic. Still waiting on the High School Jackass #2.
If that'll ever happen in this day and age.
Do a quarantine Jackass. You have like your little pop culture with Pierce videos though you got going there.
Yes, but I wrote myself into a corner and I needed a second person to help out and no one wants to help out. So I'm just like, You
need like a somebody in person to help.
Yes, because I mean, playing 3 characters is hard enough. I got to raise it to 5 characters in order to make this story make sense, right?
Why don't you just green screen me into it?
No, that'll be a fucking nightmare.
Nah, come on.
Oh my gosh.
It looks better than King Kong versus Godzilla's fucking blue screen. It's like a green silhouette. Anyway, yeah, go subscribe to his channel. He has something there. A couple good reviews on his channel too, like Shadow Zone and a couple others, and the fucking Santa Claus. What is it, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh my god, man!
That's exactly what it's called. It's ridiculous.
Droppo is the best character. He had one.
I forgot how to sleep, so I was practicing.
Yeah, you have one episode of influential people that died too early. He never did that again.
Oh man. Oh man.
It's fine. We're done ripping on people. Go subscribe to his channel. He has good stuff. I mean, I guess at this point he's more consistent than me because I don't know what the hell I'm doing anymore. But I do have a video coming out tonight. I have something coming out about Godzilla 1998. So be looking out for that.
Okay.
I have a documentary I'm working on that's going to be fun. Kind of just a compilation of that old Godzilla in America series I did like 2 summers ago. I'm just making it into one big thing. So it'll be like 40 minutes or whatever. And then I'm also doing, what else am I doing? That's about it. And oh yeah, and the podcast is going to start happening here. I would say I would try to make it more Godzilla centric, but I think in general we kind of make it film centric because I do want to have it be a little bit from things that we talk about. But for instance, the last one we did was good and bad things about movie theaters. So I'll probably post that here at some point. So yeah, that's the Heisei series. It's pretty fucking good. All right, everybody. See you on the flip side of Rodan's little ball. What the fuck
And
is that thing?
remember,
Oh, Daddy's home.
cake every night.